Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, Miss Dina and our friends. It's me, Insyira Zahrani, and my friend Namirah Berlian Lacruise. And we are from the International Program of Islamic Communication and Broadcasting in University Muhammadiyah Yogyakarta. And currently we are participating in the Intercultural and Interpretive Communication course of STEAMS, or Summer Program of Islamic Moderation Studies. And in this video, we would like to share with you our cultural shock experience. So, in the beginning of this video, at first we are going to explore the experience of Namirah. So I'm going to ask her several questions related to her cultural shock experience. So are you ready, Namirah?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. So, what is your culture shock experience that is most impressive to you?
Maybe I think when I started my life as a student at the University of Muhammadiyah Yogyakarta, and for my experience, the new experience. For the first time, I felt living in a boarding house, and then I have to struggle and survive to learn about new culture in my life. That's it.
So during the process of culture shock, of course, we are going through some phases or some stages. So I would like to ask you about your honeymoon stage. What was that and how did you react to that?
Okay. At that time, before I went to Jogja for study in UMY, I have high expectation of how special Jogja, and then like the environment, beautiful places, culinary, friends, and house life as a student and as boarding house children. House life as a student and as boarding house. That's it.
Okay, so how did you react to your honeymoon stage? Were you happy or what?
Yes, of course, I'm happy because my expectation is high before I went to Jogja, and then I was want to go to Jogja early because
You were so excited.
the news of the culture of Jogja is very, very beautiful and amazing.
Yeah, all right. So that was your honeymoon stage. And then, of course, you were going through the frustration stage. What was that? What was your first
Frustration. What? Frustration stage. It turns out that when I arrived in Jogja, the expectation of the honeymoon stage that I explained earlier were very different because with their culture, with the environment, even the culinary, and not only that, how difficult it was for me to live as a person who first lived in a boarding house, and then like having to think about a place and environment that is comfortable and safe for me, and what to eat today or what to cook today, and what task do you have today, even what the schedule will I do today, like this. And I also feel that in this frustration stage, I often feel lonely, which is usually when Usually when I am always with my friends, my dormitory friends, or with my family, and at that time I have to learn to understand the situation better and learn more. That's it.
Yeah. So, how did you react to your or how?
What?
How was your reaction with this frustration stage? Trust or sad or
I think your voice not clear.
check? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. How was your reaction to this frustration stage? Were you sad or stressed? Or...
I think in my frustration stage is sometimes I feel stressed, but when I do with feel want to learn be better, I do my best. I do my best when I feel happy.
Alright, so you try your best to feel your happiness, okay? That was great. And how about the adjustment stage? What was that and how did you react to that?
Adjustment stage. Some things need time to adjust. Yeah, I choose to adapt to all my previous expectation, and then when I have reached the adjustment phase, I have learned a lot and know the culture from my culture shock. And then one way is to find a good environment and relationship, and trying to find a way not to feel lonely when I'm in a boarding house. And then I try to adjust myself and learn how to communicate well with relation from different cultures, regions, ages, and maybe characteristic from each other, like this.
Yeah. So you learn to understand each other more in this adjustment stage. And how about the acceptance stage?
What? The acceptance
Yes.
acceptance stage. Okay. At this acceptance stage, I try to accept every difference, like habit, like culture, communication, system, behavior, and other, and then different environment. And I understand that that there is no right and wrong the culture. There are only right or wrong ones, like this.
Yeah, so you figure out that there is no wrong culture or right culture. That's great. And the last one, this will be my last question for you. What is the positive and negative impact of this culture shock experience?
Okay, the negative impact of my culture shock experience is feeling disoriented, and then feel rejected by the environment sometimes, and then homesick, and more correctly, I feel dormitory sick, because my past experience for 6 years with my friends in dormitory, like this.
All right, that was the negative impact of this culture shock. So, what is the positive one?
The positive impact of my culture shock experience is I can more learn how how's life in different culture, and I can learn more about the culture, how I can communicate well to each other, and then I can know about the characteristic of the each other, like this.
Is there another thing about your positive impact, or that was enough?
I think that's it.
All right. Yeah. So thank you, Namira, for this. That's culture shock experience.
Your voice, I can
Really?
hear you.
Okay. Thank you. Am I audible now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So Namira, thank you for sharing your experience of culture shock. Thank you for sharing the positive and negative impacts. I learned a lot from that. And yeah, thank you. So now it's your turn to do the interview.
Okay. Thank you for the time. What's your culture shock? Culture shocks experience that's most impressive for you, Jihan?
Oh yeah, thank you for the question. So I actually have experienced some culture shocks, but this time I will share to you my experience with Sundanese people when I was living in a boarding school in Bandung. So as you know, Sundanese people are so polite and so soft-hearted and a bit sensitive. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, like you know, they used to talk like this kind of the way of talking. So as I was previously studying in Malang before going to Bandung, which is known as a rude Java. So even though they are not as rude as Surabaya, so when I came to Bandung and found out those soft people, I was shocked. So I was to a culture shock.
Okay. What's your reaction during in honeymoon stage?
Yeah. So about the honeymoon stage, I was in this stage I was so glad to find that kind of people. So you know, as they are so humble, friendly, and soft-hearted and soft in talking, and so calming, love to smile, etc. So my reaction was happy. I was glad for that. Yes.
And then, what's your frustration stage?
Yeah. So that's right that Sundanese people are so kind and so you know calming and soft while talking. But then I figured out. I mean, I found a conflict with that. So there was a moment where I felt myself rejected. Not rejected. Like I felt they were keeping silent to me. Like they left me alone. Like when I tried to talk to them, like they didn't respond that much as usual communication. So I felt like why they did this to me and why they talk this way to me and etc. So that at that time I was stressed a lot, and to be honest, my reaction in this frustration stage was a bit. I mean, I was crying, and because it stressed me a lot, because I kept wondering why, and why, and why. Yeah, that's it.
And what's your reaction during the adjustment stage?
Yeah, as I had a conflict with them and the frustration stage. Like I felt they rejected me, or like I felt they kept being silent to me for some moments. So at that time, I tried to figure out what was actually happening, and then I came to the adjustment stage, and there was a friend. So there was a friend who we honor. So we call her like Teteh because she is way older than us. So she came to me and telling me what is actually happening and why are they keeping silent to me and what was the problem and etc. So after I figured it out, so I tried to apologize to them. I slowly understood like how I should interact with them. So I apologized. And alhamdulillah, everything was going back to the normal. Yeah, that was my adjustment stage.
Okay. The next question is, what's your reaction during when acceptance stage?
Yeah, acceptance stage. So of course, after being exposed to our conflict or some conflicts actually, yeah. So I finally figured out the way I should interact to them, the way I should talk to them. So I finally tried to talk as Sundanese do. I tried to act as Sundanese do. So like I tried to be Sundanese actually. So I tried to adjust more, and I tried to be more open to them about my cultural background and the way I talk and the way I acted in my previous school, so that they will not get me wrong with the way I talk. Like if sometimes in case I sound a bit rude and etc. So I try to be more open to them. So I came to the acceptance stage when they finally accepted me as a Javanese who tried to be a Sundanese, and I also accepted them with the fact that they are so soft-hearted and sensitive and friendly and etc. So my reaction when I was in acceptance stage was, of course, I was so happy because I felt more peace inside myself. No more big conflict that existed. But yeah, there were tiny conflicts, but that didn't matter at all. So yeah, I was happy. My reaction in the acceptance stage, almost the same way as the honeymoon stage.
Okay. Next question. What's the positive and negative impact of your culture shock experience?
Yeah. Negative and positive impact. I will start with the negative one. So the negative impact is that sometimes I have prejudice or like negative thinking to those who tend to speak softly and slowly, like the way Sundanese do. Like sometimes I think like, maybe he has like maybe they have something behind the way they talk. I mean, like they don't really mean what they talk. That is the tradition of Sundanese and Javanese too, actually. So they don't really mean what they talk. There are something else behind that. So sometimes I have that bad prejudice or negative thinking. That is the negative impact. But the positive one is that I learned more about Indonesia's diversity. That Indonesia cannot be represented by only Javanese people. There is also Sundanese that has, even though Javanese and Sundanese are actually living in the same island, but we talk differently, we act differently. So I learned more about Indonesia's diversity, and which is good. And I also applied some of Sundanese culture. I figured out that it was, a great and a beautiful culture. So in many occasions, I talk the way Sundanese talk, especially to the older people, as I cannot talk politely in Japanese, so I try to apply the way Sundanese talk, and also especially to the one that I don't know them well. Yes, I think that's all about my positive.
Okay. I think you can close the interview.
All right. Yes. Okay, guys. So we have shared our experience related to culture shock. I and Namirah have shared our own experiences and our reaction during the honeymoon stage, frustration stage, adjustment stage, and acceptance stage. We have also shared and elaborated about the positive and negative impacts of this experience to our life. So hope you guys benefit from this video, and thank you so much for watching. We apologize if we did any mistake. Thank you once again. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye.
Bye bye.